Okay. Unity underlies the illusion of separation. Okay. The name of the Church of Unity is profound and is something that is very important to remind ourselves of why the church that we're in today is called unity. And that is the nature of our being is actually unified, actually connected to each other. Okay, but when we come to have the human experience, we agree to adopt the constraints that go along with being human, and chief among them is the constraint of feeling separate from everybody else and separate from everything else. I'm here to say that is a non-native state. It is a very alien state to feel so separate from one another. We feel like we're just me, we're just this body, and then there's all this stuff going on out there. There's objects and people and actions and things happening, but I'm not connected to them. I'm just me. That's how we feel when we're human. And we feel it so much, and it's so normal for us, we completely take it for granted that we are separate beings, completely separate beings. When you are in higher reality systems, real higher reality systems, you can feel the connectedness that you share with not only others around you, every other being, but the environment itself. Because the nature of what we are, the substance of being, consciousness itself, is a part of one whole. It is all connected. Metaphorically, it's like an ocean of consciousness. And you are a valuable, precious, individuated drop in that ocean. But you cannot actually be separate from the ocean. This is like the most extreme type of separation possible, actually. Being physical on Earth is like, metaphorically, going to Mount Everest and climbing a mountain that's very tall and it's super cold and there's no oxygen. And then we get to the mountain and we're like, oh my gosh, it's so cold. I can't breathe up here. This is tough. Yes, that's the nature of Mount Everest. And the nature of the human experience is an experience of apparent deep separation. Underneath that separation, that unity of being remains. But while we're lost in the experience of separation, it prompts great fear in us because it's so non-native. In my own case, I've shared in the last few years my personal story of choosing to come to this human life. I have pre-birth memory. I remember accepting this journey. And one of the chief experiences of accepting the veil and incarnating into this place is a profound sense of separation that is introduced. It's like being disconnected from the whole and having all your knowing cut off and dropping in vibration down, 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 lower, 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 all the way down into this place where it's so cold and dense at the same time. It's such a profoundly unique and alien state of being. And it prompted fear in me immediately, even before my body had been born. I know that sounds strange to a lot of people, but I remember that happening for me because the state of being so separate is really strange, really alien. And immediately, at least in my case, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this. I lost all of what I am. But I have since accepted that, and now I'm deep in this experience, as we all are. That fear that is prompted is certainly not unique to me. Every one of us feels that something's missing. We're all seeking. We go around our lives, we're like, where is the thing I'm trying to plug? We try to plug into everything, plug into the substances, the people, the relationships, the activities. Maybe this will make me feel better. Maybe this thing over here will satisfy me today. We're always grasping. That's the nature of the ego because it's trying to fix this problem now that we have. We've got this problem that we don't feel connected to the whole anymore, and we're trying to find it. We could say in Christian terms, we're all searching for God all the time, whether we remember it or not, whether we know it or not. Okay, so we're all experiencing some amount of fear. Well, the vast majority of humans are experiencing some amount of fear because of this non-native state, because we haven't fully integrated it. We haven't fully come to terms with being this separate. Being in this state and actually fully allowing it, fully in allowing and engaging and integrating it within who we really are. We haven't all done that yet. So we have fear. And when we have fear, we have ego. And when we have ego, we end up building all sorts of systems, both organizational systems, but also belief systems, idea systems that perpetuate in order to try to protect the self. Lots of us versus them type thinking, all the isms, the racism, the nationalism, the sexism, these beliefs that, oh, I'm a part of this group. Now I'm going to feel better because I've identified in my own mind there's value of being a part of this group, but you're over in that group, you're someone else. The state of separation allows that perception, but it's because of our fear and our ego that we buy into it and we perpetuate it and we pass it along for generations and generations of time. We have enshrined, in fact, some of these isms, these beliefs of separation into our institutions, into our culture, our very culture. We have thousands and thousands of years of history of us versus them thinking. But that is changing. It's changing. Not overnight, because there's a huge vibrational distance between buying into and associating with the us versus them thinking and actually coming to rediscover the unity that exists between us and the love that that unity calls for each other. There is a great distance there. We are bridging that gap. We are growing. In New Age terminology, we're going through the awakening right now. The human race is growing. The collective consciousness is dealing with all this old crap that's been down there for 10,000 years and more, and it's coming up to the surface, and then we say, oh, there's so much chaos on the surface. Well, it's got to come up to be dealt with and faced. All the racism, all the nationalism, all the sexism, all the confusions of us versus them. We have to actually face what's in there for it to be processed and healed. Okay. What I want to talk about today then is briefly, how can we feel and actually know tangibly that native unity? Now, until we tangibly know it, it's like an idea because we feel so separate. It's just an intellectual idea. And until we feel it and know it, it is important to intellectually decide to try to live lives that are more in alignment with love, which is that which is in alignment with unity, and to see in our own selves where our own biases exist. Where do I judge the person next to me? Where do I puff myself up to feel better? It's beneficial to find that and to try to locate that and then find what fear is down underneath there. Because every time we're doing that, there's some fear at the root that we haven't fully come to terms with. And it is beneficial to locate and find that fear. Okay, well, what I want to try to point to is the very difficult direction, because again, we're deep in separation right now, of trying to actually feel and experientially know that unity that is real. I assure you that unity is real. It's more real than this illusion of separation. This illusion of separation will fall away. We're all only here for so many decades. It's over. And the unity of our being immediately becomes apparent once again, because it is the much more enduring reality, despite the fact that this illusion of separation is so deep and persistent. I know it's persistent and consistent. The veil works. It does a great job. But the unity of our being is deeper. And what I want to suggest is 3 simple ideas, just simple ideas, for how we can get to know that again, to feel that unity again, and for it to be tangible. When we get in touch with that unity and feel it and know it, we actually do become experientially aware. The people around us are a part of us. The environment around us is a part of us. It's all connected. We are a part of all things. Just like we can experience in higher reality systems that are thought responsive, in those reality systems like the astral, you experience, you feel that thing over there is a part of me. It's within me almost, but you're still you. You're individuated and yet one with the whole. That is native to us. So we can actually experience that here, even though we're so deeply veiled. Okay, so I'm going to suggest just 3 ideas to try to move in that direction. It's not possible to, create some kind of ingredient list and just do this, and now you'll know. Now you'll feel the unity. That's not how it works. because the world of form and our association with form, including the association with actions, we like to take actions and see results. That's what we do in the physical, you know. Because of our association with that, that is a part of what keeps us so deeply veiled, because we think we're just the body, we think we're just the ideas, we think we're just the name. We need to take a step away from that, actually, and move towards what is more fundamentally real than those form associations. Okay, so number one, move towards full alertness of your own aliveness beneath form. But another way to say that more simply, get to know your own consciousness. What do I mean? Spend time, we're in linear time right now, so we need to take time getting to know and to feel and to experience the nature of your own mind, your own consciousness, the own livingness in your body itself, beneath all the thoughts, all the stories, all the expectations. That can take practice and time. But yet, on the other hand, it's always right there, and it doesn't take anything but opening your hand all the way, metaphorically. And that aliveness that you are can be tangibly touched and known. The consciousness that is in your hand right now, like if you feel, how do I know that I have a hand? Like if you close your eyes and you feel, how do I know that I have a hand? Without feeling the wind on my fingertips or the temperature in the room, the aliveness. Can you feel the aliveness in your hand? It's here right now. Your whole body is it and full of it. You think that aliveness is your body. It's actually you, your spirit. It's just folded down into this experience of a dense body. That aliveness is connected to everyone else. My aliveness and your aliveness are one, and yet individuated. No paradox, no conflict. We are connected there. Okay, so if we spend time getting to know our own consciousness underneath thoughts and beliefs and identity, we automatically loosen our association with those forms that seem so convincingly real. And of course, I haven't used the word yet, but meditation is the word we use for this practice of spending time and focusing on your alert aliveness of the present moment itself. So that's number one, is get to know your consciousness. Okay, number two, move towards full acceptance of this present moment. Full acceptance. All the feelings, all the fears, all the pains, all the stories, all the sensations that are arising. Allow. It's our resistance, our blocking that sets up the boundaries and the divisions. Fear is rejecting and closing off. Love is opening and accepting of all things. It's unconditional. It's completely open. So when we can meet our present moment with full openness, full unconditionalness, totally allow and experience everything we're experiencing, that moves us closer to that connectivity, that unity that's always there, because we're not setting up boundaries anymore. We're allowing ourselves to feel our pain, our joy. We're allowing ourselves to be exactly who we are right now. You don't have to be anybody else besides who you really are right now. You don't have to feel anything else. You don't have to think anything else. You don't have to do anything else. You can just fully accept this moment for all that it is. And the third is fully experience life. So number two is acceptance, that is no rejection. And three is similar, but an important different angle. And that is fully engaging and experiencing all things, fully feeling the sensory information, your taste, your touch, your sound, your smell, the feelings of your body, fully engaging the circumstances of life as they arise, fully being present with the person next to you, and being the authentic you as you do so. Who are you really? Your true nature, who you really are, is a being of joy and love and freedom. That is who you really are. That's your true nature. You are that. So it's okay to fully experience the world right now, because it's not your enemy. You are a being of love and joy, and you can fully experience whatever is arising in your life. Now, one example of this that often gets brought up on earth is going out in nature. You know, a lot of people say, well, I don't go to church, but I'll go out in the woods or I'll go fishing and I'll feel spirit there. That's natural, because when you're fully engaged in experiencing life, and also in a place where there's no resistance, by the way, nature is in a state of just living and being. There's no resistance. It's just alive. It's beautiful. We can feel that. It reminds us of the higher realms where we feel that connectivity all the time. Nature is like that for us here. There's a lot of light in nature. Life is connected. So when we fully experience life, we feel our connectedness. Another example may be perhaps you look upon the sunset and for a moment you just fully take it in. You don't judge, you just see the colors and you feel the moment. You fully experience the moment. And in that moment, there's no division. There is this sense of the divine, that the sunset is actually an expression of the love and the joy of your being too. You love the sunset not just because it's beautiful, but because it is an expression of the one loving presence, the expression of God that you know and that you feel and that you're a part of. That is what we feel when we look at the stars, for instance. Last night I went out in my backyard. There were two planets. I'm not sure which planets they were, but there were two planets up in the sky near each other, and they were so bright. It was like, my goodness, they're within us too. And they're so beautiful. And when we fully experience that, they don't feel distant anymore because they're not. Okay, all three of these things that I just mentioned can be exemplified in meditation. So getting to know your own consciousness, being fully accepting of the present moment, and fully experiencing whatever is arising in this moment. Meditation then takes practice, takes setting aside time. I feel it's important to not allow yourself to feel that you've failed in some way if you set aside time and you can't stop thinking. Or if you sit down and say, oh, I just feel so grumpy right now. I got all these stresses. Set aside the time anyway and move in that direction. Standing still in the water slows the momentum of the water. I've used this metaphor before, but do you remember being a child and you go into the swimming pool with your friends and everybody walks in a circle and creates this nice vortex in the pool? The water's moving around real fast and then everybody lets go, right? And then the water carries you around in circles and it's super fun. So then if you want to stop the water, you could try to walk against it, but what's going to happen? It's going to hit you in the face and barrel you over because you gave it all this energy. Our thoughts are like that. We give so much energy to our thinking and our interpretations for a lifetime. And then if we sit still, bam, 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 all these important thoughts that we told were important are going to show back up. 2 weeks ago, I thought about paying the bill. Now the bill thought shows up because I told it was important. It's going to show back up. We do that all day, every day. We set all this momentum into motion. But don't feel bad if you try to stand still in the water and the water is hitting you. It's okay. Okay. As we move in that direction, the unity of being becomes tangibly apparent, not because we're going and trying to accomplish that, but because as we clear the crap out of the way, the unity is already there. We can feel things from each other. We may even begin to get information that we didn't know was possible. We might actually experience telepathic moments. That's normal. We think telepathy is this big, strange, magical thing. It's not. In all higher systems, communication is done instantaneously and telepathically. Talking is the archaic, crude way of communicating. Anyway. Okay. Okay, so one last thought. As we move away from the association with the form, take note of where you have fear. Because really, the only issue that is truly being worked through here is your own fear, which is just your own rejection or your own state of yet to be integratedness of the experience. Your own, oh, I can't deal with that. I can't think that. I can't move. I can't feel that. It's too big for me. I can't feel that. Or I experienced this trauma when I was a kid. You start letting go. You let go of the thoughts, your ego stories get dropped too. So all that crap that's there comes up. That's okay. Maybe there's some experience as a kid that you haven't processed all the way yet, and it comes up and it's too big. That's okay. If you experience fear, that's okay. You're finding your own rejection, the own place within yourself that you have the opportunity to process and heal. You are deeper than your deepest fear, even if you don't know it. So if you find fear along the way, don't be afraid to fully allow and face even that. Because ultimately, there is nothing to fear. There is absolutely nothing to fear. But this is the place we come if we want to climb Mount Everest and push those boundaries. So here we are. Let's do it.